Greetings. Here's the question. If you could retire in your early 30s, would you do it? But the better question is, well, how can you do it? This is OTR Ogre and Corgi, and hey, if you like what I'm doing, like, link, and subscribe. Comedy so choose. Let's get into this. You know, when I recommend trucking, it's not a joke, because trucking is one of the easiest ways I've found to make a goddamn huge amount of money really easily. I'm not against the trades. I think the trades are good. I think a lot of college is a waste of time, unless you go for a real degree. But the biggest problem that you will find with most jobs is that they require you to have a place. Now, you don't necessarily have to be down to that. In fact, I highly recommend, whether it's living with multiple roommates or just getting yourself a van in the city, basically the situation where you just reduce the biggest cost of living. What is the biggest cost of living? Rent. Whether it's a mortgage or rent, however you do it, the cost of a place costs money. So you have to analyze that for a second and think, how much stuff do you really need? How could I reduce this? And this is why, and you'll see this. I've watched immigrants do it. I do it. When you live in a truck, your commute, for instance, driving OTR is from the back of the vehicle, 3 feet, to the front of the vehicle. And you wake up in random locations, and you can go hiking and enjoy your life. Hell, take the dog for a walk. It's a pretty kick-ass life if you know how to live it. But what is the cost of living in the vehicle? Well, you need food, gonna need a cell phone, and maybe you need auto insurance occasionally. Now let's analyze the average life. The average person has a place they rent which costs them, let's say, anywhere from next to nothing in the middle of nowhere. And let me explain why that doesn't actually work out. Because if you live in the middle of the nowhere place, there's less opportunity. I'm going to come back to a paradox that you can take advantage of that the trucking world offers a little later in the video. But yeah, you live in the middle of nowhere place, you're not making money. But you live in the big city, you're making money, but you're spending it all because of the cost of living. Well, wait a minute, if you live in a truck or a van, then you're not spending all that money. And I know that's pretty hardcore for a lot of people. Well, that's why I recommend, get a van and a gym membership if you're going to do the city thing. That way you've got a place, you take a shower twice a day at the gym, work out, shower, sauna, and then basically go out and make your money. But if you're in a truck, effectively, how much gas are you really spending at home? How much insurance are you really spending at home? In fact, realistically, if you get rid of those expenses, so you're not buying a high-priced vehicle, so your rent, let's say that's, $2,000 a month with utilities for a shoebox in the city. So you're up to $2,400. Then you add on $500 a month for a car payment, because expensive, nice cars cost money, and that's, the average American's car payment is around $500 a month. So $6,000, there's $30,000 right there. Then put on top of that, how much do you eat? The average American spends around $8,000 per year between restaurants and, cooking at home. You can get that down to like $5 to $10 a week. I'm not even kidding. Beans, rice, learn how to spice your food. Hell, billions of Latinos can't be wrong. Fuel, that's a few thousand a year. What is your time worth as far as going back and forth to work? Add that in there, factor that in. That's how much money you didn't make because you gave it away in commuting, and plus you were ruining your car. So it ends up being around, you add up all the techniques together, and I've done video on it before and I'll do it again. But, between not paying all these bills, you're up around $32,000 to $35,000 a year. Then on top of that, if you're not pissing away your money on stupid shit, you can get your expenses, the money you save. You can end up saving like $55 to $65K easily. Now here's another technique. Back to that paradox of land. Buy land in a state that has no state income tax. So where your home base terminal is, where your home is, like instead of paying like, $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 to the man for the state, because everybody else gets what you're giving away for free. Like when they go out and they visit your state, how much do they pay in those taxes? Oh, next to nothing, if not anything. And meanwhile, you're paying for all this shit? Nah, fuck that crap. So you reduce your taxes right there by, say $5,000. Then you start putting into a 401k or something you can deduct. So there's probably another $5,000 or more. Hell, if they're doing a good match where it's like, 6, 7, 8, 10% or something like that, you take that money, you throw it into a good investment. So, hell, you want to look up something, look up the S&P 500. 200,000, 35 years plus $50 a month contribution equals over $3 million over 35 years. So effectively, your retirement is set. It's not hard to make that type of money when you're not spending it. If you're out here, the first 6 months, you're not going to make any real money in trucking. But after that, you jump up to a better company, you start making money. And because you're not spending anything, you maintain all your money. It's not just how much you make, it's how much you take, but how much do you maintain at the end of the year? I can't emphasize that enough. And like I've said it as kind of a joke, but it's really true. When you go to these truck stops like Love's and whatnot, and you're getting 4 points per gallon on diamond status, convert those CAT scale tickets back into cash on your paycheck, take that cash, and that's paying for your groceries. So your groceries, your cell phone, get like a cheap cell phone bill. And if you can pull that off, like let's say you're into country music and top 40 and listening to people talk about Jesus, you will be perfectly fine with a stereo. But if you can live that minimalistic lifestyle, so say you learn some degrees or some crap. Maybe you learn to drive at 18 and do local, running milk tankers or something while living in a van. But at that point, once you hit OTR, you're like, well, I already have tanker experience or local experience for this long, assuming you can get that job. You'll basically be able to make some pretty goddamn good money. But let's say that you take that first few years and you go get a trade, like a backup trade for the long run. And you get a few certificates, and then you go OTR at 21. Well, here's the thing. You save that money like a god for X amount of years, buy some cheap property where you're only paying like, $200 to $400 in taxes, and whatever your HOA fees are. So your effective rent to society is $50 a month. Do you think after 10 years of working and saving and investing, you're not going to have enough to basically be able to retire in your early 30s? And the answer is yes. Now people say, what about pussy? Because that's really, let's be honest, most of you guys, it's not about a long-term relationship. You just want to get some pussy. And so what I'm getting at with that is that is literally what's holding you back. You want to impress the ladies, so you spend money you don't have on crap you don't need, for things that people only care about for 2 seconds flat, and then it's the next flashy thing you got to show off, and you give away the majority of your fucking life for that shit. Now, this is why you will see guys that happen to be going their own way, and if they happen to be truckers, this is why they're living life good. They don't have to worry about they have fuck you money from the early game. That's the thing about it. And I look at the world and I just see these people constantly complaining, like you'll see these socialists, oh God, capitalism. Then you'll see the people blaming the corporations. When at the end of the day, it's you and your choices. You could achieve the victory if you wanted. And you want to know something funny about it? I see immigrants doing it every day of the week here. And the funny part about their situation is they come from a culture where their dollar is worth nothing compared to our dollar. Their currency is garbage. So they're making real goddamn money over here, and they're going to go back after 5 to 10 years, and they're going to go back to their country and set up a small empire. So if they're capable of doing that with the shirt on their back, then there really ain't any excuse why you can't do it too. But if you don't want to do it, that's your choice. But understand, you're the one choosing to put on those golden chains. Personally, me, I'd rather be liberated. But hey, there's how you retire by the early age of 35. Like 30 to 35. So, take it easy.